I'm John Lee with St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association members, guests. We're really happy to have Miss Catherine Davis here on our first Friday of the month. And she's always full of good stuff and some stuff that she just has to laugh about. So,
Thank you. I was just telling John and Laura that I don't have a lot new today. John asked me about the status of the squatter case that was in the news. The trial court ruled in favor of the property owner because at that level of court, you can't determine constitutionality. That has to go to the Court of Appeals. So this has teed it up for our city defenders, which is the not-for-profit that represents the property occupants, to go to the Court of Appeals. And I wish it wasn't on these facts because it's not good facts. It looks to me from what I read about it that these people were not squatters. They were people who were in there under a right of possession from a prior owner, and that's not a squatter situation. If you buy a property and someone's in there and they were allowed to be in there by the prior owner or an owner prior to that or whatever, they're not a squatter. Their right of possession was granted lawfully. A squatter is someone who is not in there with any kind of permission from anyone. It's, the classic situation is it's the homeless guy who breaks in and starts to burn the building down. The other situation that we're seeing in the squatter cases is where someone fraudulently leases the property to someone and the person doesn't realize it. And then the owner comes along and says, well, I didn't put you in there. Those things honestly usually get resolved at the courthouse because once everybody realizes that it's a mistake, they can often be settled. One of the first ones we had was in the city, and the poor woman thought she bought the property, but it turned out she didn't buy the property. The person who sold it to her didn't own the property. She didn't close at a title company. She had already started doing work on the house and spent money. So that was sad, but caveat emptor, buyer beware, close at a title company, make sure that the person you're paying money to really has the title and can convey it to you. So we'll follow that and we'll see what happens. And I have nothing new on, now I can't remember the case, but it was out of Texas. It was the case where everybody had to file all their private information about their LLCs and everything. That's still on a stay as far as I know. There has been so much interesting litigation that I have been following that I've got a tag on that to alert me, but I haven't heard anything. So hopefully I won't miss it. If anybody else hears of anything with respect to that, please ping me and let me know. We're just kind of moving along quietly in St. Louis County, very busy. The courts are extremely busy, I can tell you. Usually by this time of year, it starts to drop off a little bit, and it doesn't seem to be doing that. So we are on our eviction dockets making people deals that we wouldn't ordinarily give just because we would have to wait that long for a trial date. So, and then at a trial, which we're generally going to win if the person owes rent, then we still have to wait 10 days after that. So we're giving people deals like end of the month, trying to get them to make a payment mid-month, that kind of stuff, just to avoid having to go to trial in November, which is longer than that would be. And once we nail them down to a consent judgment, they're nailed down to a consent judgment. And if they don't comply with the terms, we can file for the sheriff. The city is its usual Marx Brothers movie, state of hilariousness. I'm sure you've read that the sheriff has been having some issues. And on top of that, their copper wires got stolen for the phone system in the civil courts building, which is where the sheriff's office is. So if you have noticed a delay in getting sheriff calls for your eviction in the city, it's because they don't have phone service. So they are telling us that they can get voicemails and they will call you back. So if you get a call from the sheriff saying, I want to schedule your eviction, call them back and leave a voicemail and a good number where they can reach you. And supposedly they will call you back. I know they are behind. They've got that plus the legal problems of the sheriff to deal with. They're understaffed, but they are able to get voicemails, we know now. So, good luck. If we can help you, call us. We go down to the city 2 or 3 times a week, and we're happy to stop in at the sheriff and physically in person ask them what's going on with an eviction. But expect to wait a few days longer than usual before it gets scheduled because of all their troubles. My other counties are all pretty quiet right now, so I don't want to say anything and jinx them. Does anybody have any questions?
Wow. So the copper got stolen?
The copper, yeah, I'm sure you've heard
Gosh.
about these copper thefts. And apparently, I mean, if you go down to the city courthouse, there's just like rows, banks of utility trucks and Ameren trucks and Spire, and I don't know what else. And what I've been told, and this is just something I've heard around the courthouse, which is a notorious place for gossip, but what I'm told is that these wires are all in tunnels. There's all these tunnels underneath. And I've heard of the tunnels before, but at the beginning of losing their phone service, they couldn't even figure out where the wires had been stolen from. And they had to, I guess, prowl around in all these tunnels and try to figure it out. And you can see where they're digging up corners and, doing all this stuff. I mean, like I said, it's, it's the usual Marx Brothers movie in the city. It's
Oh,
just, uh,
that, that's insane. I couldn't even imagine that because I didn't think copper was that big a commodity right now. I know we had some problems a few years ago, but
oh,
right
it is
now,
now because of the
is it?
tariffs. The price has gone back up again.
Oh,
And yeah, it's a big thing again now. And a lot of copper thefts are occurring. So, secure your copper lines if you have any, or um, see what you can do. But yeah, it's been a big problem
so
recently.
how long are the actual trials going now then? Because that would extend it further, is what it sounds like. And they were,
Well, our trial dates in the city are still good. It's just once we get the judgment, whether it's by trial or on a docket, and we're ready to file for the sheriff, the procedure in the city is we put the contact person, John Lee, and your phone number on the execution. And we file it. And then once it gets issued by the clerk, we walk it down to the sheriff. And then they call you to schedule the day and time when they're going to come out and, supervise you changing the locks and put the people out and that kind of thing. And since their phones don't work, you can't call. If you call them, you can leave a voicemail, but I guess they can't call out and they're having to use cells. I'm not really 100% sure what's going on. They have told us to tell clients, leave a voicemail and we will call them back. But for the first few days, I think they didn't even really have a plan and they were just trying to figure out what was going on.
that's crazy. It's just unbelievable somebody would do that.
It's, they've stolen copper before from the 911 system and, all kinds of things. So that's,
Wow.
it is bad. It's,
There must be a special place for those people someday.
it's, it's
It's really
really,
bad. Yeah.
you've really sunk pretty low, I think, if you have to steal copper,
Yes.
especially if you have to go down into those tunnels in the city, which I understand are kind of, frightening and have rats and, that kind
Well,
of
they
thing.
wouldn't have to take them too far if they get caught to jail, I guess. Is what they're
No, they
doing.
the tunnels might be nicer than the jail. Not sure about that one, but yeah.
Right.
We do at least now have a good prosecutor in the city who, if they catch them, will prosecute them. The warrants aren't just sitting in somebody's email box. And the sheriffs are in the civil courts building, which is now called the Cahill. The prosecutors are in the Carnahan across the street. And I think if I've heard the gossip correctly, I think the Carnahan still has phones. So the prosecutors have phones.
Okay. Well, at least we all got cell phones nowadays, or for
Right,
for the
right.
most part.
Yeah. I
Wow.
imagine the sheriff probably bought some burners and gave them to their clerks so that they could
Great
call
idea.
everybody.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wow. I think Dana has a question here. Is that
Okay.
Dana, you got your hand up? Do you have a question here for Kathy? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay, hello everyone. This is
Hi.
James. Dana's
James.
in the background.
Okay.
But I had a question concerning we have a property in North County and it's in Bellefontaine Neighbors, but the street that it's on is maintained by the county. And they gave us a letter stating that, and we knew it was coming, but we didn't know it was coming this soon, that they're supposed to do improvements on that street will make it ADA compliant and some widen the street, do some other things there. And so they said they're gonna send us an offer because they need easement And so they said, you can accept the offer. If you choose not to accept it, then you can go, Kathy, you can go through the rigmarole, whatever, trying to
Mhm.
negotiate. But my
Yeah.
question is, in your past experience, would it be worth it to go through that, or just take the offer that they give you, or what?
Well, I think, it might depend on what the offer is and what they're taking. Are they taking your property permanently?
Yeah, they're going to take part of the front of the of my front yard.
Um,
Now, how many feet? I don't know.
yeah. We might have to wait until you get the offer and look at it and see if we think it's fair. And I don't really do those, but I will get you the name of a lawyer who can advise you if we think it's just inadequate and you need to get someone. And usually those condemnation lawyers, they will take a percentage of the amount they collect for you over the initial offer. So let's say you get offered $10,000 and the condemnation lawyer gets it up to 40,000. They'll keep typically 10,000, a third of the extra 30, and you'll get the rest. So
Okay, got you.
get the offer. If it seems like you're not sure or it seems low, call me. We'll talk about it and I'll give you the name of a condemnation lawyer.
Okay.
Okay.
And thank you. And another quick question: is anybody on here, if they know of a very good a good CPA that deals with, that is very astute on taxes and real estate, and we do have a CPA, but we're thinking about seeking somebody else. So if you know somebody, please reach out to us, let us know.
Well, I actually have people that I rent space to in my office, Mary Aronson and Kelly Schaefer, and you can call my main phone number,
Okay,
314-962.
you got it.
We have it.
Okay,
1115.
Oh, go ahead and repeat it, please.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
314-962-1115 and ask for Mary or Kelly and their CPAs. I use them, you know, they're good, they do a good job. And this is a good time of the year to switch because they're not that busy right now. Even the late filers have gotten filed, I think, more or less. And so they've got a little bit of a lull.
Yeah, we were forced a couple weeks ago to finish it up. We're one of those, and I
Yeah.
hate to say it, but it's just the way it is. And so, yeah, this is a great time. Thank you for the recommendation. We have people
Sure.
ask all the time, Kathy. So that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
That's
okay,
who I would start with.
okay,
Okay,
well,
guys,
thank
I
you.
have to go downtown and continue with foreclosure.
Thank you so much. We
All right.
always
Okay.
appreciate your time. We know you're a very busy person, but we always appreciate coming in and updating us and filling us in, Kathy. So we'll see you next month, and good luck
Thank
with your mother's
you.
birthday coming up too. I know you
Thank you
guys are
so
preparing
much.
for that.
We'll
So
see you in
Thank
November.
you.
Bye, everybody.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, good. Always good information here. Kathy's great, and we love her and love her coming in here and filling us in. I guess we could go ahead and get started. I got a few announcements, but I guess since Kathy's here, let's go ahead. Laura, you want to do have your disclaimer here, and then we'll go ahead and get started.
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning and welcome, everyone. First, I'd like to do a bit of housekeeping. Feel free to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. Please be mindful of everyone else by muting yourself while others are speaking. You're welcome to put any contact information that you want to share into the chat. We meet here to share deals, look for deals and solutions we have in need with our real estate. We are not your financial advisors, attorney, or accountants. We do not endorse or recommend any specific solutions or contractors here. You're advised to do your own due diligence to your own satisfaction before you invest. The first Friday of each month is Ask the Attorney with Ms. Catherine Davis. Our meetings are typically recorded, so only share what you want others to know.
Thank you, Laura. And let's see here. Okay, just a couple things, and then we'll get started with our networking. The main event for STLREIA coming up this month will be on the 21st. That's Tuesday. Let's see, the usual place, the Lodge De Pere. That's 1050 De Pere Road, right there off 270. This month is going to be interesting. We got Scott Carl, who's going to do I guess, the early bird session on mud jacking and polyjacking. I'm not sure what polyjacking is, but I have a feeling it has something to do with the mud jacking. And then the main speaker will be Megan Greathouse. She does small, and they say small and mighty multifamily investing. So that'll be interesting to get a little take on. She's a local investor here in town, so that'd be interesting to get a take on her and see what I'm sure she has a lot of things she does the right way, and some she's learned not to do again. So that's how it kind of works when you specialize. Um, Only other thing here, let's see, we got Kathy Kinnebrook. Some of you guys know her from Florida. She's been with our group several times. She's doing she's the magic marketing lady. She's going to do a marketing masterclass just for our group on Thursday. Let's see, November 6th. So we're already getting into November here. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my owner finance master class this next Thursday. A lot of people were asking about that. We were trying to get the schedule coordinated because there's people out of town and we just couldn't make everybody happy. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I put a lot of time into this because a lot of people are asking some of the details, and we're trying to simplify this to make it very, very user friendly and easy. I'm putting together a blueprint and a manual also. And what we're going to do, it's going to be, we came up with, it's going to be $199. Some of you guys already are going to be included because you're in our lifetime program, but that's going to include the blueprint that you're going to have with it. And we're going to do two follow-up sessions too, probably on Friday, an hour before this, so you can get in and ask your personal questions if you want to do that. So anybody interested, just put your just say yes in the chat, and then I'll go back and make sure I got your contact information. It should be what you registered with. And I'll be sending out a little bit more information on that probably tonight. Since we decided to do it next week, it'll need to be real soon. So I'll get that out for you. So other than that, we'll be here again next week. I don't think there's any other announcements that I need. Okay, I guess that's about it. Does anybody have anything they'd like to share with us today? Anybody working on anything, or are they're looking for something? I mean, Kathy this is always such a good week to tune in because she fills us in on a lot of interesting stuff. Plus she's entertaining. So she's just a very good friend, and we're really happy to have her.
Hey, John, good question.
Yeah, Eric.
Hey, can you repeat that number that Kathy had left for the attorney, CPA? Excuse me, CPA?
Well, yeah, this is actually Kathy's office, and their office there is a good group of people to work together. And her main number is 314-962-1115. And the CPAs, I guess, who she works with is Mary R. Kelly. That's who you want to ask for. This is the main number for Kathy's office there. And the nice thing about Catherine Davis too, she knows so many people. I know we've kind of talked about this before, but there's so many times when you'll just call up their office and you can get a referral for, like she said, like another attorney, because she is so well known in our community. I mean, she kind of knows who to go to for almost every situation. So yeah, that's a good one to have. 314-962-1115. So yeah, thank you, Brian. Put that in there in the chat. I see.
Okay, thank you, John.
Certainly, Eric. And
I have a
how are you doing? You're back
question.
from Germany.
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, good to see you. So yeah, Tracy, did you have something you wanted to share with us here?
Yes, I closed on my first flip house in North County a couple weeks ago. So I had the inspection, I've been getting bids. I have a question. It's a 1959 classic mid-century house. Original owners, extremely well maintained, but absolutely no updates. So I just want to get some opinions. There is asbestos siding in great shape, but I'm thinking I might want to cover it with regular siding because of the way people think about asbestos and to update the look, even though I think it looks really cool. So that's one question. The other question is, it's got the aluminum windows that are like, they're storm windows, but they're the original aluminum windows. What is your opinion on ROI for new windows for a flip?
What are you going to do with the house, Tracy?
It's vacant. I bought it as an investment property.
mean,
I'm going to sell it. I'm gonna
You're gonna flip,
fix it.
okay, you're gonna rehab it and sell it. Yeah,
Yes.
you're gonna have to look at that, talk to somebody that knows a little more. With the thing with the asbestos, yeah, you can cover that up and it does look a lot better. There is some negative stuff, but there's really nothing wrong with it unless you do something, construction wise to stir up dust and all that kind of stuff. You just have to really see what it's going to be and what it costs you. Because I know with the windows, that's another story, same way. Sometimes it's worthwhile. If I was going to live in the house, I would do something different than if I was going to rent it or sell it. Now, sell it, it really depends on what you're looking for. A lot of times you don't get your return out of it, but many times you do. I don't know. Does anybody else have any comments they'd like to share with us on the exterior there for Tracy? Yeah, I guess the main thing is look at the cost and look at what you're going to get back out of it.
Okay. Yeah, that's
I
what
mean,
I'm trying
that's
to
where I would,
figure out.
that's what I would come across with.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, certainly. If anybody else has anything they'd like to share, if they think of something that they've done, feel free to talk to us. Yeah, there's many times we've updated stuff and not gotten our money back. There's other times when we got such a great deal on the property, it was well worth it. So it just depends on what
Okay.
you're comfortable with and what your bottom line is too. If
All
you're gonna
right.
keep
Thanks,
it,
Jen.
yeah, if you're gonna keep it and rent it too, that's another whole story, as you
Yeah.
know. So, well,
All
that's
right.
great.
Thank
We
you.
love to hear what's going on with it, Tracy, as you go along. And thanks for bringing that up to us. I know you talked about it a couple of weeks ago. You were about
Yeah.
to do that. So congratulations on pulling that trigger.
Thank you.
That's
I'm excited.
fantastic. Yeah, really exciting. Okay, does anybody else have anything they'd like to share?
It looks like Nancy put something in the chat. Nancy, can you
Oh,
unmute?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, there we go. Nancy Gamble, there you are. Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself, Nancy. Looking for a rehab in St. Louis County.
Yeah, sorry, it took me a minute to find the unmute.
All good.
Yeah, I am. I've done some rehabbing and I'm looking for another project. I'm kind of open. I want county rather than city. And I've done a couple in North County, one in Florissant, one in Normandy, and one in West County. So, I don't want like a total gut rehab, but updating things, fixing things, I mean, that's fine.
Okay, and you're kind of open to the
So
area?
that's about it. Yeah, I'm flexible.
Okay. And let's see here. Do you have any price range in particular that you're looking to stay between or?
Yeah, so in terms of the ARV, I would like between 250 probably and 350.
Okay.
And it could be less also.
Okay, now it's the ARV after you're done. Is there any, now you said the scope of work, you're not looking for a gut rehab, but you're looking for
Right.
something, what kind of extent are you actually looking for? Something that's like updates, like with kitchen, bathroom, stuff like that? Or you looking for,
Yeah.
okay, paint or?
What I've done, kitchen, bathroom, painting, new flooring, hardwood refinishing.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really want to move walls and plumbing.
Yeah, walls, you start getting into that kind of stuff and it's a little different. Sometimes the plumbing comes with the updates though, as you probably know. So,
Yeah,
okay, what's the
yeah.
best
And
contact
as far as
information?
purchase, I'd say, yeah, do you want me to put it in the chat?
If you don't mention it, if you don't mind mentioning it verbally for us here also, as well as putting it in the chat, anyone watching the replay that has something they could get a hold of you. So just be sure you only put the information you want to share with everybody in here.
Sure. It's myself, 314-378-974.
Okay, what was the last four numbers there, Nancy?
9474.
Okay, I got 314-378-9474.
Yes.
Okay, and you're looking for something in the county that the ARV will be about 250 to 300 when you're done.
Yeah. Purchase
Okay.
price, I don't know, anything from 50 to maybe 130.
To 130. Okay, that gives a good range of prospects there. Okay. Thank you. If
Thank
anybody's
you.
got anything they'd like to share with Nancy, there are any prospects, please get in touch with her. And thank you. Let's see. Okay. Brian wants to hear about Germany. Yeah, Eric's lived there for a while and he visited this year. So yeah, he could at some point you could talk to him about that.
Very cool. Yeah, I didn't want to take time during this. Just I actually speak German, so but I've never been.
Oh, okay. Well, you guys could have a great conversation. Maybe you could show up at the main event or some in-person thing. And
absolutely.
yeah, Eric's a very interesting person too. He's been with our group for a long time. Very, very nice. He does a lot of traveling too. So you never know where he's going to tune in from. I'm not sure where he's at today, but sometimes he's in California. Sometimes he's in Germany. You just never know about him.
Very cool.
So
I wanted to do just a quick intro, if that's all right.
sure.
So I was here last week and I was at the last meeting as well. I'm Brian Edelman. I do real estate, but I'm also a founder of Landlord Ops, which is an AI assistant for independent landlords for automating rent collection, tenant messaging, maintenance, any compliance messages as well. And I'm joining STLREIA as a vendor, and I'm just over here in Kirkwood.
Okay. Well, thank you. And what's the best contact information for you, Brian?
Sure. You want me to drop my email in the chat?
You can. Also, if you don't mind giving it to us audibly the same way as we asked Nancy, that way anybody watching the replay
Sure.
got that
It's
done.
Brian, Bryan, not I, Bryan at landlordops.com.
Landlord.
I put it in the chat.
Okay, yeah, if you put in the chat also, that'd be great. Thank you. All right, and let's see. Oops. Dana, what was the date again? Or James, whoever's, I can't really see everybody at all times. If you depends on which event are you talking about? If you're talking about for the one we're doing this Thursday, that'll be the, what was that date here?
I think Laura gave it to us the October 9th.
Oh, okay, October 9th.
Thank
She
you for
did.
that.
Thank you. Okay, excellent. Okay, yeah, I can't see everything the way
I got your back.
Yeah, I know. Well, and today's our 10th anniversary, so you've had my back for a while now.
Oh,
So
happy anniversary.
well, thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Anniversary. And James did have another question.
sure.
Nobody else. I recently heard that the St. Louis, Mayor of St. Louis, I guess signed a bill or whatever, but they allowing ADUs, and I was wondering, did you hear anything about that?
I don't know of anything. Does anybody know anything? That might have been another question for Kathy, but
Yeah.
I don't know. And what's the definition of ADU, James?
Auxiliary dwelling unit.
Okay. Just
And
for
those
yeah,
who might not know that you're allowed to build a separate unit if you have property in the back of your primary residence, and you can rent it out or whatever it might be. They said they were trying to address the need for additional housing in the city. And so that would just maybe another way, another tool they could do that. Some people were opposed to it because they thought it might affect the property values wherever it might be. So I just wondering, because I think it's just real new. They probably haven't even worked out the particulars on it yet. So I was just wondering, had anybody heard about it?
John.
yes.
So at our realtor conference last week, we did have two people from the city that were there talking about what's going on with tornado relief, and ADU is actually something that came up in the conversation about considering it. It's not there yet, but they're considering it because of the issues with housing and all the damage and getting houses rebuilt. So yes, it's a conversation the city is having. So look forward to hearing what they do with that.
Thank you, David. That's a, yeah,
Thank
it
you.
is a good subject. I know some people I know out in California, they've been looking at that for a while because the housing prices and they got the rent controls. There's just a lot of crazy stuff. We don't have quite all that, but we've had the storms this year, like you just brought up, the tornado and that. And there's still a lot of people in a lot of, well, not as good of situations as they were. So they're looking for extra
So one of
housing.
the things they talked about was they don't like to put it in this way, but the good thing that came out of this is that they're looking at different options, how we can rebuild it and make things easier and get housing back on the market and increase the housing market.
Yeah, I know that's important for our area. So yeah, appreciate you filling us in on that. Maybe you keep us updated for anything you hear. I know you're deeper into some of the local things than a lot of us here. We appreciate that, Dave. So yeah, I know in one of the things, I don't know how many there is now. I know we do have the auction coming up, the tax auction for the city here coming up, I think the next week or two. If any of you that are on Dale Sweet's mailing list, you've probably been getting information on that. I think it's too late you had to have a 10-day, it had to be 10 days earlier to get on the list to actually bid on them. I don't know what it is like today though, but I know 2 years ago when we looked at this, there was over 20,000 vacant properties in the city of St. Louis alone, and 16,000 had dwellings. I imagine that number went way up since the tornado and all the things we've had happen in the last year or so. So there's just such a need for it. And some of that stuff, I'm glad they're really addressing that because that's something that we need to really look at. There's a lot of stuff going on, and the ADUs is something that maybe a good solution for a lot of our areas. I know we looked at there's one area that was doing the tiny homes, and there's a lot of stuff with that too. Part of the problem is all the regulations though that that they put into place hopefully they can cut some of that red tape out of there. So yeah, if you could keep us up to date on that, Dave, that'd be great.
Normally, I'm all for safety Oh, hi, this is Renee. Normally I'm 100% for safety regulations, but those are not the issue. The issue is the historical society stuff where you have, like, oh, you have to have a wood window or you have to board it up or, like this, that, and the other. And they don't allow you to, I had a property that I was going to fix up and I decided to just sell it because they wouldn't allow me to use burglar bars. And there's some really nice ones these days. It's not like, but I'm like, this is an area that's full of junkies and there's no way that I would live somewhere like that without being able not only to protect my and myself, but also the property, because like the copper theft thing that was just talked about, all the vacant buildings, they have all the things, stolen. And I'm like, well, if I try to fix this up slowly, then I'm just going to get everything stolen out of my building because they won't allow me to protect it. So, it's not like fire safety or building code stuff that, because I have no problem with that. I think, you have to have homes that are safe for people to live in. I have no issue with that. But what I have issue with is when they're saying, like you can't protect your property, you can't, it's like, I wouldn't have had the money to do it all at once. So if I'm going to fix it up slowly, I have to have a way to make sure that people can't break in and steal everything.
That's such a great point, Renee, because we've had stuff that we've done in certain parts of the city where on a Friday afternoon, late in the day, the contractors left putting in new, all new stuff in the kitchen. And by Sunday night, somebody had broken in, stole all the pipes. The water was pouring out, stole even like the stainless steel sink and all that stuff. And that was one of the problems we had. We couldn't really secure it the right way while all that was going on. And, I can definitely feel your pain on some of that stuff. And they just need to come up with something that makes sense. A lot of times common sense doesn't come into play, but maybe that's what we're seeing. Maybe now they are starting to look at some things that make more sense. So thanks for sharing that, Renee. That's I know you have a lot of experience in some different areas, and we appreciate your thought behind that.
Yes, I am the learner of very expensive lessons at this point.
Welcome to the club. We could go on for years talking about all that. So yeah.
Oh, for sure.
And the learn, as you know, too, the learning is in the doing. We can do, you do all the courses and everything. Of course, I probably have done them all and done most of them more than most people. And that's one reason when we put our stuff together, I like to really trim it down and just give you the nuts and bolts, the stuff that really works. But a lot of the stuff, we learn from what didn't work. And that's the beauty of coming to our group here too. And, groups like ours is you can find out what didn't work for people, because everybody likes to show you all the stuff that works and all this great stuff. And, it's some of the stuff that doesn't work is where the most valuable lessons are. And they're the most expensive too, as you mentioned.
Yeah. Well, and also I know like as a nonprofit, you can't do quote unquote politics, but I do wonder, and I would be willing to help with this because I hate when people suggest things. One of my big pet peeves is someone suggesting you should do XYZ and then not being willing to actually do it themselves. And this is something that I would be, like interested in would be if possible, to like get together and come up with some things that are like, this is why you can't get people to rebuild their properties. You know what I mean? Like, and being able to like maybe meet with, city officials and say, because that's not, that's mission, that's not
Oh,
politics.
right.
We wouldn't be telling anyone who to vote for or anything. But if that was something that other people would be interested in, I would absolutely be interested in that, inside this group or outside if that's the way it needs to be.
It's just a webinar and I'm muted, so yeah.
It's well, Renee, yeah, you might be interested in the housing coalition. I can give you a little bit more information offline on that. I know Dave, their Soto Properties is one of the members, and Catherine Davis, she is. We get together. I don't know. It's every few months in person. Sometimes it's online, and talk about some of the stuff. And they do have a lot of the politicians come in, and it's not really political, even though a lot of us have our own opinions on stuff, but that's something that's really not brought up. And the nice thing about that is they get in and talk on both sides of some of the stuff, and it's a little bit more open than some of the other groups that I've been in as far as what people talk about, because they listen. So that's something I could give you. I could give you a little bit of information on. That's what the St. Louis Area Realtors Association, and I don't know. I don't know when the next one is, but that's something we could definitely introduce you there, Renee, and I'm sure they would love to have you. I mean, it doesn't cost anything to be a member, but it is a great thing to participate in as far as finding out stuff like that and knowing who to talk to. I've met a lot of people that I've talked to since then that I just didn't know what office to go to get questions answered. And,
Right.
you get a little bit more insight. And it's maybe not that they're going to drop everything and answer your phone call, but they'll actually talk to you, which I don't want to cut down too many government agencies, but a lot of them won't talk to you,
Right. Yeah. No, it's very difficult because, bureaucracy is set up that way, but not to get too off on a tangent, but yes, please, I would definitely like to, I would definitely be interested in that. Especially if there was some way I could participate remotely, because I don't know if I could, always make an in-person meeting, but I could try.
Yeah, well, they have them in person. It's about half the time, and I think about half of them are be on Zoom. So
Awesome.
definitely be able to meet with the ones on Zoom for sure.
Okay, I put my email in the chat for you for the owner financing class, the owner financing course.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So yeah, that's the way to reach me. And I think you already have that somewhere, probably already have that info somewhere. But I would be interested in that as well. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah. Next time I hear something on that, I will definitely let you know, Renee. I'll put a note down right now.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Okay. James or Dana, did you have another question? I see your hands raised there. You still there?
Yes,
There we
I'm
go.
still here.
There you are. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still here. Two things. I agree wholeheartedly with Renee, what she just said. We would be definitely interested because I'm always curious of how you go through the city and you come across a pocket where you see 4 or 5 brand new homes put up, or maybe 6 or 7. You wonder, how did they get those up without somebody coming in there and taking everything back out? So, I mean, that's a big problem. If that could be solved, you would get a lot of investors start coming into the city, I do believe. But also as far as with Tracy, I believe she said she had just purchased her first flip property in North County and she had asbestos siding. So by being out here, I don't know if you're still on, what,
Yes,
may I ask you, where is the property?
it's in Blackjack. It might technically be St. Charles County. I think it might fall under their requirements, but it's
St. Louis
Blackjack.
County.
Sometimes it comes up as Florissant, 63033.
Yeah, that's St. Louis County. That's not St. Charles County, but okay, but in that
Oh,
area,
yeah.
yeah, in that area, you might, yeah, like John was saying, you might consider maybe taking off the siding on it. I'm not sure. Because I was going to say if it was in an area such as say Bell Fountain, maybe I would just cover it up because that's a rental area. But where
Mhm.
you are, you're talking about doing a flip. So it might think about maybe consider doing that. But if you cover it up, maybe the inspector, whoever, might not uh, do anything about it. But I guess you could put a feeler out there to the county or somebody and ask them what's the stance on that. You don't have to let them
Thank
know
you.
your property or anything like that, but just ask them, say, hey, what's the position on that? And I'm sure they probably say remove it, but uh, I I don't know. I think you might consider removing it, but we know what the
Mm,
cost of everything now. Uh, that's a
Yeah,
touchy area, but I would think about removing it.
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I got a phone number here for you, Tracy, of St. Louis County Housing Inspector, a guy who talked to our group about a year and a half ago or so. And he's
Excellent.
actually in that area. I don't know if he's in Blackjack, but I know he does unincorporated North County. Okay,
Okay.
his name. And you could, if you could have him come out, it's about $100 or $150 if he does this on the side, but he'll tell you everything the county looks at. And I guess some of the stuff, he might be able to give you some insights. He'll talk to you for
Thank
nothing on
you.
the phone though. But if you want him to come out, it's about I don't know. I want to say, I don't remember if it was 100 or $150, something like that, to give you give you a little bit more insight. But his his name is Jason Schroer. It's Schroer. And his phone number is 314-599-4259.
Thanks, John.
You can tell him that our group said that I said that you could call him, and that's where he got his number. He's really a nice guy. He used to be a firefighter, so he does have a lot of insight to kind of some of the workings on how the government works and that kind of stuff. He's got a funny sense of humor, so don't take anything personal. Okay, just smile. He's a great guy though, and he I don't know, I don't have the link here. I was going to say you could go back and because I'd have to dig through hundreds of videos, but we do have his full presentation on the on YouTube. So
Okay.
if I can find that, which I will at some point, I'll send that out to you. Or just
Thank
remind me
you.
next week and I'll see if I can't dig it out this week.
Okay. Thank you both.
You
Certainly.
guys
Yeah.
put that in the chat, Jason,
Yeah, I'd be happy to do
information
that.
in the chat. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, he's a good guy to know. He was a clown too. That's where I first met him at the Shriners when we had our meetings there. When they had the circus, he was actually a firefighter clown, which was very interesting. Very nice guy though, very knowledgeable. And what's good about him is he gives you kind of the insight of what they're looking for, and you can do this kind of off the record with him. Is one thing I really liked about him too. Let's see, 599. Okay.
I had something I wanted to share with the group real quick.
Sure, Victoria.
So I have a few properties coming up. I have one that's about to be finished and another that is not renovated yet, but about to be. And I wanted to offer to this group, anyone that's interested in touring either one of these properties to learn about, how I designed the property for the one that's finished and what challenges we faced. And then for the property that's not yet started, things that I would recommend or things that I would do. This would just be more of a learning experience for anyone that wants to basically tour a property and get some more information from a designer's standpoint. And from, I also flip properties. So if you are interested in touring any of these properties, I can give you my email address. You can shoot me an email. You can put your email in the chat and I'll copy it down. But my email is Victoria, that's VICTORIA at inspiredhouserenos.com. So that's INSPIREDHOUSERENOS as in Sam.com. So if you would like to come and just see how I renovate properties, ask questions, just get a different perspective from a designer / investor, I welcome all of you. It's free to attend. And I'm not sure, it might be this month. It just kind of depends on when we can get into the properties. So let me know if you're interested.
Thank you, Victoria. And let's see, and that'll be coming up maybe this month, you said.
Possibly this month. Yeah, it's just all a matter of scheduling. If I can get both of the houses on the same day, that would be ideal because they're only about 5 minutes apart from each other. If I have to do them separately, I may do that. It'll probably be on a weekend because I feel like that's when more people have availability, but I may just, whoever's interested, ask what their availability is and we'll try to get, the majority of people on that date. So
Okay, and what part of town are they in? You said they're about 5 minutes from each other, so that's
both of them are in Florissant.
okay.
And then I may also start doing this in the future with just properties that I find on the market. So if anybody has interest in doing something like that, just when I find properties that are, on Zillow or whatever, if you would like to join the group and just tour the properties, I may be offering that more in the future as well.
Okay, and just let us know about that. That's great. Let us know when that is, and it's up in the Larson area. So that's maybe that's some tips that Tracy could use also. So she's up in that area. Very nice.
And then just as a reminder for anyone new on here, I do sell kitchen cabinets. If you're interested in, if you have a property, an investment, or it's even in your personal home, I sell kitchen cabinets. They can come in 2 weeks or less. And I have pretty much any door style and door color available. If you would like help with that, feel free to reach out to me. And then I also help investors. If you're working on a flip, I offer mentorships and I also offer design packages specifically tailored to you. I actually just recently walked a house that I flipped a couple years ago. I was able to meet the homeowner that bought the house. And she was just so happy. She was like, "This is the most amazing house I've ever lived in. I was so happy when I found it." She's like, "As soon as I walked in, I knew immediately I had to buy it." And then I got an email actually from her today, thanking me again. She wanted to see the before photos, so she wanted me to come back over to see the house when it was clean. Because when I kind of just dropped by just to see if she was home because I was in the area, and it just was a really good reminder of why I do what I do. She really loved the house. She loved the energy of the house, and it just was a really good moment for me to have that feedback from someone that I never met until recently. So.
That's a great testament right there. And yeah, the before and after pictures, I'll tell you what, they make such a difference too.
They do.
They really do. When people are looking at stuff, because we all of us, we do stuff more online these days too. So even people that maybe can't make it to your the open house that you're getting ready to have on there, maybe just, and I know you'll have pictures, but maybe that's something you can share just a little bit about some of those too at some point. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. All right, so a lot of good things going on this fall here coming up, and I know fall just started, but it's underway. So we're really glad to see some good things going our way. So, all right, anybody else got anything they'd like to share here? A lot of good conversations. We always seem to have good conversations. I never know where we're going from week to week with it, but it always ends up in a good place. It's always interesting when Kathy tunes in too. we always get some more information that we need to know. And the squatter update for me will be really interesting. I know she talked about that a few weeks ago, and there's some things going on with that there looks like they're trying to test the law for something it was not designed to do, or the statute. So it'll be real interesting to see where that's headed. Because I know a lot of people, what they're doing is they're trying to use it when somebody actually had permission to be in the house, and that's not what it's for at all. It was designed for people like similar to what we had. I know Laura and we had a squire that broke in the house. But this is actually, it was in Florissant. This is back in 2020, and the guy started a fire in there and burned the place down. Then he tried to steal. It was a 4-alarm fire. 4 different fire departments showed up. Then he tried to overpower one of the guys and steal the fire truck. And then St. Louis County let him go. So they said something about it, and it was on TV and everything. I was on the it wasn't Zoom. It was, I think, WebEx is how the courts do their thing, because they weren't having anybody in person, very few people. And so I did it, and they let the guy go. I couldn't, which just still blows me away. I still got all that, and just, I mean, we were paid, we were made whole for kind of for the insurance, but they let the guy go.
They said that a witness didn't show up. We don't know
Right.
what witness that would be, but
I don't know, unless it was the fireman he overpowered. I don't know.
I don't know.
So
That was like at the beginning or around the beginning of COVID. So I think that had to do with,
it was 2020, October of 2020. So, which was just amazing,
yeah.
but yeah. But anyway, that just made the decision on what we did with that house. We sold the lot as is, the burned down shell, took the insurance money and moved on. So it's a sad situation, but a lot of things lost will never recover too. So let's see here. Bruce was late coming in, upcoming. We didn't really have too many announcements. What we announced, we have the, let me find it here. The main event this month, Bruce, with STLREIA. Let's see, at the lodge, Japan Lodge is Scott Carl doing mud jacking and poly jacking. And then we have, that's at the early bird session. Then you have Megan Greathouse doing small and mighty multifamily investing. Then on Thursday, this Thursday, I'm doing the owner finance master class. Let's see, and that'll be in the evening. And then on, let's see, November the 6th, will be Kathy Kinnebrook is doing she's the magic marketing lady. She's going to be doing a marketing magic or master class. It is kind of magic the way she does it. So very interesting. So that's about all the announcements. You can watch the replay if you want to see what Kathy said. That'll be, I always have that on YouTube by midnight. That's my rule. It'll probably be a little sooner, although you never know, because it is Laura and I's my anniversary. So it may be a little later than normal. So we'll see. We'll just see.
Quick question.
Yeah, sure, Eric.
This month, coming Monday, is the network luncheon, correct?
That is correct. I didn't have that on there. Yes, thank you. At Applebee's, that's correct. Yeah, the luncheon, the STLREIA luncheon is, that's from 11 to 1. You don't have to get there right when it starts, but you can get there anytime. And you can stay later. I know a lot of people typically do, but that's when it's scheduled between 11 and 1 at Applebee's, and that's at Olive and 270. So thank you for bringing that up, Eric. I didn't have that in my notes today. Appreciate it.
John.
Anybody else have anything you'd like to share today?
John, this is Bobby.
Yeah.
I would have liked to ask Kathy when she was there, but we have a tenant that with Catholic Charities, and Catholic Charities pays all of it, all the rent. But from the very first day, even the first day she moved in, she makes demands. She wants this repaired and that repaired, and acts like she's the owner. And then when you get a maintenance guy to show up, she won't let him in.
Yeah. That's something you may want to call Kathy's office on. And did you happen to get her phone number?
Yeah, I have her number.
Okay. Yeah, I would give her a call and just ask somebody in the office there. That's in the county, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
the very statutes, you know, we certainly have right of access, but she's a former drug addict, and we consider her dangerous, frankly. Not physically dangerous, but um, it, it, no matter who you, whether it's landlord, owner, or whether you send maintenance people or even send a plumber over there, they have to have exactly. She's got to be there, she says, and it makes it impossible to get anything done. So, I guess I'm wondering if it's grounds for eviction. I hate to do it at this time of the year, but yeah, I'll call Kathy then, I guess.
Yeah, Bobby, that's the question for Kathy. I couldn't answer any legal question like that. That's you get in, you know, every situation is a little different, and that's one of those individual things that you just probably need some advice from her.
I think.
Yeah.
I was thinking if Catholic Charities, hi everybody, and congratulations, John, on your anniversary.
Thank you.
I was thinking if Catholic Charities is helping with her rent, you might want to contact them to let them know, give them some feedback as to what's going on. Because even if you do evict her, they might help her get another place and she'd be doing the same thing to somebody else.
Well, that's exactly it. Our previous land, that is exactly what she did. And the caseworker at Catholic Charities is part of the problem because she simply supports whatever she wants. And
That's weird.
the tenant claimed that the plumber didn't start any work. And so I asked the plumber from before and after pictures they took a picture before, they took a picture after, that they tore out the tile to get going. But she claimed to the caseworker that nothing had been done. So I sent the caseworker pictures, and the caseworker acts like she's judge and jury, and she ignored my pictures. So damned if you do, damned if you don't.
That's sad.
Yeah. So you know, they've done good in other cases. It kind of comes out. I'll just call.
Yeah, that's a tough one. And yeah, thanks for bringing that up. And it's always a great place to go is the actual caseworker. And yeah, it sounds like you might have done a little bit of, you know, you did the right thing. It sounds like by trying to get a hold of her. But I would talk to Kathy, and she also, you know, like we kind of talked about, she also knows so many people around. She knows the agencies and pretty much how they work. I mean, it's she's got more insight than probably, I don't know, well, most of the other attorneys on this subject in town on who to get a hold of. So I would definitely talk to her, Bobby.
Yeah, overall, it's a good organization, but sometimes individuals are. It is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're all good and they have good intentions. It's just some of the stuff gets you know, gets either misdirected or gets tilted one way or the other. And that's just, you know, we all have things we got to work through, and that sounds like that's one of them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so this Thursday, where's your meeting going to be?
We're gonna do it on Zoom. We're gonna do a virtual meeting.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So, and for anybody that can't make it, I know we were trying to schedule the time a little differently because I do have a couple people that cannot make it. Some people out of town that need it, but we are going to record it. It's not going to be out to the general public, but it will be available for you if you can't make it for a little while. And we're going to have some follow-up. Like I said, we'll have some follow-up sessions just to talk and get some personal questions answered, because once we go through all the material and you get your blueprint and your manual to go through and look at your own personal situation, you'll probably have other questions. So, and that's something you'll be able to keep with you. So
did we receive the blueprint through email or PDF or what?
Yeah, I'll send it to you. It'll be one that you can keep with you.
Okay.
What I'll suggest, and I know Eric and some of you other guys know this, what I usually suggest that with the stuff I give to you, that you make a folder and put it on your desktop saying my files or my folder, and then everything I send you put it in there, and that makes it easy to find. Otherwise, if you're like me, I've been on my goal setting every year is to get myself organized. I've done that for 30 years now, and I've just finally determined that it's not going to work unless I do stuff like this. So that's how I do it, and I'll just suggest the same thing for you. But it'll be easy to get to, easy to understand. I'm simplifying all this time because everybody makes stuff so complicated. I know if any of you, and I don't know if anybody has ever read the whole thing, but like from Dodd-Frank and that kind of stuff, I'll show you how I deal with it, how I avoid some of it, and what you need to do if you're going to be in the middle of that, because that's a whole nother set of circumstances. And it gets so complicated when you start reading some of this stuff, it just gets crazy. So what I've done is I'm going to show you how I deal with it and how I stay out of it. And if you do it, it's like if you do more than 3 owner-occupied properties in a year, then you need to conform to their rules. And it's really not all that difficult, but you do have to hire some, like a mortgage professional to do things for you. And there's some other things like that. I personally, we do, well, we'll get into it a little differently, but commercial properties, second homes, investment properties, they're all dealt with differently. And that's one of the things we'll be talking about. So we're going to make that simple for you.
I do have a question about capital gains, if you might know. Do you know the actual rule as far as if you live in the home, how that affects capital gains? You have to live in it 2 out of 5 years.
The rule I follow is you talk to your personal CPA or accountant. That's the rule, because one size doesn't fit all, no matter what. Yeah, there are guidelines you need to follow, but definitely talk to your own. It's just personal on something like that. And one size does not fit all on anything. Even like CPAs and accountants, the one I have might not be the same one you would have, and vice versa. But a very good, knowledgeable one will know who to send you to. So
Well,
that's the only thing I can really tell you about that.
I'm not a CPA or accountant, but I've heard for 40 years and longer that one of the ways you can get rich is by buying a house, moving in, fixing it up, and selling it within 5 years, as long as you've lived there 2 out of the 5 years. And then any profit you get on it above your basis is tax free. So there's no capital gains at all if you lived in there for 2 out of the past 5 years. So technically, you could have moved in for 2 years, rented it for 3 years, and sold it, and still be tax free, at least on the profit on the sale. So yeah, that a number of people have mentioned that over the years, and you probably heard that too. But yeah, I'm not a CPA or accountant, so unless Congress has changed it without telling us, I think that's how it works.
Yeah, thank you, Bruce. That's a good rule of thumb, and yeah, you can follow those guidelines. I would personally just check with my personal accountant to double check, because a lot of the things that I've used over the years, that they've applied to me and not anybody else, regardless of what the laws say. So I just would watch that. But yeah, that is typically how it works, though. Absolutely. Thank you, Bruce.
The state of Missouri no longer has capital gains tax. I don't know if anybody's aware of that, but Missouri's the first state to pass that.
Yeah, that's still, you still have federal laws and you have other things. So you just have to check with your personal accountant, but that's absolutely right, Victoria. Yeah, Missouri is kind of on the leading edge on some stuff and way behind on other stuff. So you
Yeah,
do
it's
have
quite
to know.
surprising.
Yeah, you do need to know what's going on for your own situation. That's why I said, it's really hard to answer, personal questions like this, because they are. One size does not fit all in every situation. I mean, and stuff like we're going to talk about on Thursday. I'm going to show you exactly what I do and how it works for me. And what I try to do these days is I like to show you what I do and then take what works for you and make it your own. Because you don't want to follow even what I do or what anybody does exactly. You don't want to follow what the rules and the laws say exactly either, because you're going to find out that there's a lot of things you can do. I mean, like when we go on trips, about 75% of everything we do is tax deductible. Okay, that's just the way we set it up. That may not work for you. Okay, but that's where you have to get your own personal team members, and accountant and lawyers are somebody that's really important on your team, as well as title company, and then there's a few others, other real estate professionals. But you just got to see what works best for you. So, but very good insights and good conversations here. That's I'm sure that could work for you, Bobby. It just depends on what you're trying to do.
If I could ask Bruce, is there some sort of verification about your time frame when you lived in a particular house?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming the IRS would want to verify that, because there are probably people who try to get around it by living there for year, 6 months, and then renting it out for a couple of years and say they live there all the time. And they might even try to do that by still paying the utilities and the bills and stuff like that, some of the bills. So yeah, it's in the IRS tax code, but how they double check you, I don't know. And with the lack of auditors or whatever people out there now in the IRS, because a lot of the jobs have been cut back, at least for this term. There may not be anybody who ever checks on it. I don't know, but I don't want to tell you to do that. But yeah, keeping good records is the best idea to verify that.
Would it be okay if I called you if I had any further questions?
Yeah, I'm not sure I've got any more information other than that, because that's just what I've heard from many people in the real estate groups and about taxes before. The best place would be to read up on it at the IRS tax forms itself, and like John said, talk to an accountant or CPA, because they're supposedly more up to date. I guess you could even call the county tax people or the Missouri tax people, but they'd probably refer you to the IRS statutes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I just got a couple houses. I'm right on the edge of 2 years in each one. Out of, I think I'm on the edge of, so shall we say, aging out.
Yeah, so
a couple of them, you can't have an owner occupied in 2 houses as your primary residence. So check with your CPA, Bobby, on what you're trying to do.
CPA would know more about that. Yeah, because like, yeah, and if you're on the edge where you can't find it to sell anybody, can you get around it by converting it into a trust or an LLC? And is that considered a sale? Yeah, CPA, attorney. It's like there's lots of ways people try to get around it. So, but I don't know that.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, we're a little bit past the hour here. Appreciate everybody coming in today. So we'll have the replay up by midnight tonight. And appreciate everybody tuning in, and always great conversation. So we'll see everybody next week. Thanks again.